He's a Drake maniac, maniac on the floor. And he's balling like T-Law never balled before. He's a Drake maniac, maniac playing free. Pretty solid QB at pick 3. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Fantasy BS Show. It is October 9th, 2024, and we are walking into week 7. Whew. That game last night, or that game Thursday night rather, tragic, pretty gross. Shout out to Javonte Williams though, he's did something for the team. I don't know how I feel about Rattler or Knicks yet, but we got ourselves we had a Thursday night game. How are you doing, by the way?
Man, I'm doing good. We have a new nickname on the pod for Drake May, Drake Maniac, baby. I'm
Man,
loving it. This rookie QB class is something to talk about. Um, Look, Bo Nix, I don't know if he looks like a good quarterback yet, but he's sure fun to watch. And I
he
can
is
see him
fun.
growing into something, Smitty.
He really is fun to watch. Now that you mention it, he's kind of just as fun. I'm gonna say this: he's far more fun to watch than Drake May. But I like what I see out of Drake May from his first game. Kind of.
Oh, man,
I'm
I'm
hoping.
pumped. But this QB class, man, poor Penix, poor Michael Penix, man. He's watching like other QBs get in there. I mean, these rookie QBs are like 4-2 in real life football in a lot of areas. I mean, not
So
counting
true.
Drake May because he's just starting. But this is fun. But you know what? We're going to get right into it. Look at everybody. We're recording this Saturday. It is October 19th. We're going to get into some trades. We're going to get lightly into some matchups, but just kind of talk some players on some teams. We got some trades going around the league. The one I wanted to open up this, and I was pretty adamant about talking about Anthony Richardson today to open up this podcast. I think A Rich is on a lot of dynasty portfolio managers' minds. And I bought A Rich in a couple places this week. I kind of blew up some chats. You know, some people are like, "Oh, you gave away, A Rich," and then there's other people saying, "Hey, it's the best offer I got, and I want it out." And A Rich is the dude that could be a complete bust. He could be a complete bust. I don't think so, but I guess there's two courts right now. People that want out, and people are like, you know what, I'll take the risk. So I want to talk about a trade I did for Drake May. That kind of blew up a chat here. So I needed a QB. This is the league I commissioned in. I'm right in the seventh place spot right now, and I have a Deshaun Watson problem. And after that, I had AOC as my quarterback, and I said, you know what? I got to go get a quarterback. I'm not folding this in. I want to win this league. So I shipped off one of our favorite players, 4.21 Xavier Worthy, and Michael Penix. And I shot that out, and I got Anthony Richardson in a mid 2025 second. Could be maybe the 3 or 4, but it's looking like the 5, 6, or 7. That blew up a chat. People are like, I literally, there was someone that said in there, "What, I want to see the Venmo receipt for the trade that you did on that." And like I get it. I'm a portfolio process player, and I got to tell you this. So the team I did this is in a full rebuild, and Anthony Richardson is the only QB left on his team right now. Full rebuild, 24-month thought process. Um, as a rebuilding team, if you really had a 2 year thought process and A Rich was your only quarterback, Smitty, does that feel really uncomfortable to have A Rich on as you've got value now? It just seems like if he does bust, the 2 year rebuild's done. Like done. Like I think it's a move that team had to make. But talk to me about you've been down on A Rich. You are publicly down
I'm
on A Rich on this pod.
I am not enjoying his start to the season. It's really frustrating for all the other skill players on that position and on that team. But I don't think he would blow your team up like that bad. I think what he really needs to do is just watch Flacco play a little more. I mean, he needs to learn just a little bit more about shorter and intermediate passing. Like the deep threats, he got it. He's excellent at that. I love his deep shots. Pause. But just the intermediate and short stuff, I need him to work on, and I think he can work on it just by being in Flacco's presence. So I think he's actually kind of a pretty cool rebuild piece. I never ever would have thought of him as a rebuild piece until now, actually. And competitive in competing. Like if he's your QB3, that's a that's actually a pretty sick QB3 to have. Massive upside for QB3. So I really like him both ways. It's just I don't want him to be my QB1 or two in a super flex. That's where I'm nervous.
And so I'll make an argument, and I'm going to give a call to action on this podcast from my side that I do believe that you need to go buy a Rich because his price is very cheap. Now, could it get cheaper? Absolutely. But here's the argument I'm going to make, and it's going to go both ways depending on how you want to hear this argument. Is Anthony Richardson had the least amount of snaps coming into the NFL from college than almost every quarterback drafted in the last 5, 6 years outside of Trey Lance. Okay, so that's where you need to figure out what side you want to be on my argument. Now, I believe he's a much better quarterback than Trey Lance. I really wasn't a Trey Lance fan regardless, but he needs time to learn. But what we've seen is something electric on the field with his legs and the goal line that we never once ever saw from Trey Lance. I still think he needs to grow, but I think we're going to sit back at the end of the season and say, why were we so worried from a fantasy perspective
Okay.
of A Rich? And then people will make the Justin Fields comparison. Okay, Justin Fields couldn't throw the ball. A Rich hasn't had as many, but Justin Fields had a lot more college playing time than A Rich did. I believe it's a different dog. I believe there's just a different dog. Um, I've never seen confidence from Justin Fields. All the interviews, everything. The one thing that I see from A Rich is he's confident and he wants it. I've never seen Fields want it. I've never seen him want it. And I think that man's going to be A-OK. And I am fine riding him out as my QB2. No doubt about that. And I do believe that there's a potential of him being the league winning QB that you can go get in a trade market for what his price is right now. That comes with the risk of your entire team blowing up. No risk it, no biscuit, baby. So, would you buy a Rich right now?
I'm scared, and I'm gonna say this: I have sold Trey Lance. I mean, whoa, I have sold A Rich for worse. Frankly, I sold him for worse. So
What'd you
thinking
sell him
about it
for?
for Patrick Mahomes. Now I understand Patrick Mahomes is having a pretty bad for a pretty bad first quarter of the year, and that trade is not looking the greatest. But right now, I actually would rather have A Rich than Patrick. I actually would. And it's weird to say because it just doesn't feel right, but Patrick is not giving me these 2, 3 touchdown games. His weapons are not stepping up in the ways I want. Rasheed Rice is out for the season and plus, so I'm just not. I guess what I'm really trying to say is this: I'm very okay with A Rich, but as a QB2, the QB1, I'm gonna need safety somewhere else because just I'm scared of having a fantastic 40-point game and then the next week being a 14-point game and then it's just the boom and bust of it. That's super scary, especially towards the playoffs. He might even get hurt the way he runs and stuff. Like I fear for all of that, and I do not like boom and bust quarterbacks honestly. So if I'm trying
I'd
to make
rather have Patrick Mahomes. I mean, that's a no brainer in my brain, but I just think his value's there. You you can go do it, Smitty. You can get it. I think he's going to be A-OK, and I think without JT this week, you might see what he's capable of with those legs.
all
But
right,
all right, Smitty, let's do this. So we're going to pull up on our screen here a league that I commissioned that I feel is one of the most active leagues that I've ever been a part of. We've had a lot of trades going down lately. I want to break these trades down. So all you listeners in a Royal Rumble, let's get it. We saw a team go from who is 1-4 right now, do about 15 trades in the last 2 weeks to
something.
build himself into a contender if he can make it into the playoffs. There's been some great trades. So we're gonna get this up on the screen. We're gonna go over a lot of a lot of trades today. That's kind of our goal. So all right, let's get Sleeper up here. Boom. Let's get our transactions going. All right, let's do this, and we'll get this nice and big on here. Whoop, too big. All right, there we go. So this goes, all right, we've got trade. We're putting the team's name up there because we can. And by the way, Nacho Man Sandy Cabbage, this is a league that is themed off of WWE. It's called the Rumble. So, Nacho Man, here we go. We've got acquiring Najee Harris, McLaughlin, and a 2025 third for Javante Williams and Chuba Hubbard. And this was done, wow, yesterday. Okay. How do you feel about this? Now, obviously, we're going to say everything is roster construction, so don't get us wrong here. But we're going to break these trades down in a vacuum. But then I'm going to pull up this team's team now and show you what he's done in the last 2 weeks. So Najee McLaughlin at a third for Williams and Chuba Hubbard. How do you feel about that, Smitty?
So immediately I'm thinking, America's team, question mark. He saw a fantastic performance from Javante Williams, and he probably believes that moving forward, Javante Williams is the Broncos running back one, and I think that should be the case as well. Chuba Hubbard is one of those guys where I think his role is a lot more cemented as well. So America's team is making a bet that these two running backs are actually going to be more ones than people realize. On the other hand, he gives up a freezy here. He gets Najee Harris, who is the one. Jaleel McLaughlin, who can probably work himself away. He has the upward battle, but probably a better long-term play. Probably not much really in a third. I honestly prefer the two running backs that America's team is making a bet on, but Najee could be the best out of everyone in this whole package of trades.
Yeah, this was done to a reaction of the Thursday night game because this was done yesterday morning. Um, I dig this. I dig the trade all the way around. I'm not a Javante Williams guy. I've been off of him for quite some time. He had a blow up game, but here's the thing: is Audric Estime fumbled in that football game, and Sean Payton doesn't like that. And I'm an Estime fan, but that offense is starting to look better and better and better every single week. And the team that did this trade to acquire Williams and Hubbard is in first place in this league. And I think Williams can slide in easily to fit that lineup to possibly be a league winner this year for him. I really do like this trade quite a bit. On both sides. I do like the liquidity piece coming back with the third. I think one team made a bet that it was a outlier game for Williams, and he wanted McLaughlin in there just in case. I like this trade all the way around, but let's talk Chuba Hubbard's value on this trade. So obviously we've got a running back coming off the pup, not playing this week, maybe not next week, but it's coming back. He's coming in there real soon. This is going to be a split backfield. Chuba's not going to stop getting touches. There's no reason that they need to run anybody into the ground this year, especially coming off of an ACL. So I think Chuba is a very serviceable running back rest of year, regardless of who else is in the backfield. Do you see that being a 50-50 split when man, my brain is just not
Yeah,
working
when
with me.
Brooks
Who's the running back?
To be honest, I wish, and I understand that
Brooks.
maybe Brooks doesn't
Sorry.
even want to do this, but I don't think Brooks should get involved. I really don't. I think maybe he should get some like RB2 type of play, But Hubbard is like I think actually a top 10 running back of the season right now, and Carolina knows that and they appreciate that. So Hubbard should keep his role. I mean, he should probably lose, if anything, 20% touches. And Sanders should be dropped, traded away. I don't know what they're going to do about Sanders, but that game is over for him. So I just,
He's,
I don't think
Chuba
that,
Hubbard's a running back 5 in this format
oh my
year to
God.
date.
Oh my God. Yeah, I mean, just like if Carolina notices that and they can't take him off the field, he's too good.
Yeah, he's earned
I
touches.
didn't even know that. That's better than Kyron, probably.
Yeah,
That's,
and there's no doubt Hubbard is volume based 100%. But Chuba Hubbard kind of reminds me of a big version of Austin Eckler lately. But
mm,
I like this trade all the way around. I think there's value here. Najee's going to be around for a while. I don't. I sometimes knock Najee a little bit, but he does every single thing that a coach wants him to do. Even though I don't think he's explosive anymore, but you have a guaranteed touches for a running back for the next 2 years there, and I think it's a good trade all around. And Nacho's getting back. He's the team that was 1-4, and I think he's coming back and trying. I love that he's trying to win. And we talk about dynasty theory. You got to understand your leagues, everybody. So this is a league that a 1-4 team can go out there and do 15 trades in a 2 week period and build a contender to move up to say, hey, I can still do this even though my record's here, opposed to going the complete other direction. Um, so if you don't have a league that is willing to trade like that, you probably have to go on a rebuild at 1-4. But if you play in really good leagues, nah, you'll be able to do that. All right, second
Ooh,
trade
good
here.
boy trade right here.
So a couple of my favorite dudes to play with here. B Marks, I know you listen to us, man. Let's you are one of my favorite trade partners out there. We do a lot of trades, but I see you do a lot of trades. He's addicted like I am. This is a team that is going for it as well, and both of these teams are. So Mike Evans, Daniel Jones, and Tyler Kraft for Andy Dalton, Amari Cooper, and David Njoku. I love this trade in so many different ways for both teams here because I know their roster construction. I've been very vocal in podcasts that I do think David Njoku has the possibility of tight end one the rest of the year because I do believe he will lead this team in targets moving forward. Now, I will say that this format is only a 0.5 premium that we're in here, but I like the Njoku side. I like the idea of Cooper with Buffalo. They need an alpha one, and I think he can do it. And Andy Dalton, if they don't decide to give Bryce back the keys of the kingdom, I hope he starts the rest of the year. I think that's really good. But I love Daniel Jones. People are down on Daniel Jones. This is why, I mean, I like to side for both people, but people should go buy Daniel Jones. I mean, his wide receivers are getting going here. I, I think he's going to win some games. I don't think there's a quarterback in the draft next year that's going to replace him. So I think you get a 2 year run at Daniel Jones still. Mike Evans is, I mean, he's the king of 5 yard, 2 yard, 3 yard touchdowns, and Laser Mayfield is balling. This is a really interesting trade for two teams that are both going for the title right there. And I think one of them said I needed a I need a better quarterback, and one said, "Hey, I need a better tight end." Here is kind of how I look at this one. How do you
Yep,
see this one?
yep, that's exactly what I was thinking. I'm honestly, I was looking at this more like Jason J here, the Nature Birds. He wanted a tight end upgrade. It looked like, and boy did he get one. And it also like B Marks may have wanted a receiver upgrade, and boy did he get one. So it's kind of for what you're looking for, it's pretty fair on both ends. But me personally, I like what B Marks got because Evans this Njoku definitely uh is definitely top five probably in tight ends. Evans is for sure top 10 as far as receivers go. So I mean he does have a Godwin problem, so maybe not so much anymore, top 12. But yeah, I think I'd prefer having the top receiver.
Yeah, and the team that sent Njoku also has um, Evan Ingram
Oh, okay.
as their
Yeah.
tight end,
This
so he
was a
had a
great trade.
disposable piece. Um, I will tell you from a dynasty theory standpoint, one thing I don't like seeing in here is we did a 3 for 3, which given, love it, got to switch it around, but who sent what trade to who accepted it, because somebody probably wanted to do the trade more than the other. And I would like to see a third come in this trade on that side for the team that wanted to do trade more than the other. Like get that extra liquidity piece that you might be able to go buy a spot start running back. Because this is a league that there's no trade deadline. So a spot start running back week 17 might be needed. And that's why I like to see like a little liquidity shifted around here. But on paper, I think this helps both teams. Who do you have rest of the season? Mike Evans or Amari Cooper in Buffalo
Mike
as a
Evans
wide
for sure.
receiver?
Mike Evans for sure. And the thing is, Amari Cooper has the skill set to like absolutely explode in that offense. But Mike Evans, he's just too consistent. Like we know what it is with him, and it's great. So I prefer Evans.
Daniel Jones or Andy Dalton rest of year?
Dude, I don't know if this Deontay Johnson being traded away stuff is real, but if Deontay Johnson does get traded away, that is a sizable hit to Dalton. Meanwhile, Daniel Jones has the best receiver in the class right now. He has that boy Malik Neighbors, and that guy's a dog. As long as he has Malik Neighbors, I mean, goodness. I'm looking at Sam Darnold saying, "Oh my goodness, as long as he has JJ, I love him." So as long as Daniel Jones has Malik Neighbors, I vastly prefer Daniel Jones. And I love
Yep.
what you said. Like he is going to be a starter for at least 2 years. Um, and if he's threatened by whatever quarterback they draft, it will not be an immediate switch.
And this is a 4 point passing touchdown league. And Daniel Jones is going to slide in as a third QB to Brock Purdy and Jordan Love on this team. So
Yes. Wow.
I like the Evans side, and there's a chance Tyler Kraft might go uh,
Oh,
absolutely
hold on. Can you
nuts.
go back up real quick? I just want to briefly talk about
Where do you want me
this
to stop?
right
Tell me.
here. Ferguson for Aaron Rodgers. I was playing. I just want to say this out loud, just so I can get it out my chest. I was playing against Coltrane this particular week, and he did not have all his quarterbacks were on bye. So he sent off Jake Ferguson to get Aaron Rodgers and completely smoked me because Aaron Rodgers had himself a great game that week. So that was a great play for quarterbacks. You gotta be okay with giving up a piece if you need a win. And I think Jake Ferguson was low key the perfect piece to go get an aging vet like Aaron Rodgers. So I thought that
Yeah,
was
this was
the absolute win.
I saw this trade and I got a little irritated because I do have a third QB problem in this league, and I'm in second place right now. And that third QB problem is Deshaun Watson. Um, I probably could have gone and bought Aaron Rodgers and threw him as my third because this is a league I'm going for it. That was smart trade. This was part of the rebuild for Freezy. That's turned not a rebuild. It's turning into a contender. If he can string 4 or 5 wins in a row, if this team makes it to the playoffs, because I'm going to pull up this team and show you everything that he did when we're said and done here. But I like that one. I'll trade in a 0.5 point PPR a tight end for a QB that's going to be needed all across the board. That's a no brainer. Um, all right, so
Ooh.
we've got. I'm telling you, you're going to see the same name up here because we're going to go back and show you what this guy's team was in week 3 versus now, and you're going to see why you need to be active. So Steph Diggs, Brandon Ayuk, Bijan Robinson, blockbuster trade here for J.K. Dobbins, Michael Pittman, Juwan Jennings, and 3 first rounders. Um, Talk to me here, Smitty.
So let's just get this out the way. Those first rounders are late. Those are like maybe even 10, 9, and 11.
Minimum 106 at best on one of them,
Minimum
but the rest
106.
are going to be 10, 11, 12.
Yes, so those are some pretty late picks, right? So I'm gonna just say this right now. 2 firsts for Bijan. I love it. I absolutely. I would
Yep.
take either side of that, right? Um, and then let's go the additional first for both Diggs and Ayuk. Oh my god! You know what? Actually, hold on. There's actually a clear winner here. I would much rather be the guy who gets Dobbins, Pittman, Jennings, and the picks. I actually would vastly prefer that.
The team getting the picks is, hold on. The team getting the picks is on a full blown rebuild, I believe.
Oh,
Um,
he is.
yeah, and this one he is.
Oh, well, you better
So
get rid of those.
so so I
Yokozuna,
dig this.
get rid of
I
Dobbins right now.
I greatly would rather the pieces of look. I don't even like J.K. Dobbins, but I know I can get rid of him later at some point with no trade deadline in here. Juwan Jennings is going to get a chance somewhere to play again. His Trinity charts are actually ridiculous on what he does, but he's going to get another shot
Yeah,
here.
I hate that, bro.
We've been down on Pittman. We've really been down on Pittman a lot on this show. You know, go back 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and you can hear every different viewpoint of how we drop out of him. And actually, I did it. I got rid of Pittman just because I wanted out and I wanted liquidity. I got Josh Downs in three thirds for Michael Pittman, and I
I
was
like
very
that.
happy about that.
I like that a
But I
lot.
like the liquidity. I like the 3 first rounders. Period. Anytime you can get out of on a running back with multiple first, I'm in. Diggs is on his way out, and I don't know what Brandon Ayuk's going to look like. I think that we're probably buying him at the cheapest we should be able to buy him at, but I like the multiple pieces on the other side. And again, this is all roster construction. The 3 pieces that this team took, he did. His team's incredible now. So the one thing that I will say about some of these trades, especially with this Nacho Man, Sandy Cabbage we're talking about, is 2 weeks ago, he started doing 4-for-1 trades where he's getting four and giving one, giving three, getting one. He ended the point he had probably had like 15 or 20 players on his roster too many. So he could then go consolidate to things like this. So there was a massive process game plan for Nacho when he went into this. But anytime I can get 3 first rounders, it's what I can do with those 3 first rounders moving forward. Even if I'm contending on this one, I'm fine giving up that because I can go fill running backs for Bijan. And actually Dobbins could fill in. He's going to be a spot starter there. I
Yeah,
like
but now
that
I'm
one.
looking at this a little more. Diggs, Ayuk, and Robinson will actually have you in the playoffs for the next 2 years for sure. Like that is actually those are some freaking dogs. Like I mean, I don't know about Ayuk
They are.
yet. But like I'm starting to warm up to each side. Like God, if only he could have kept Dobbins. Is all I'm saying.
Yeah. But this is a good process trade. And the point I'm trying to make is if we're rebuilding and looking 1 or 2 years out, I don't need Bijan. I don't need Gibbs. I don't need Brees. Get them off of my team while they have value in case they get injured or something and then it kills my rebuild. Diggs, how much longer does he have? Don't know. So there was a lot of process that went into that trade. All right,
Oh,
this
who's your
one's
favorite?
cool. We don't like on this show 1-for-1 player, same position. We like the leverage. We like something back, a second, whatever it might be, a running back that hasn't even touched the ball this year, that one injury and he's going to get 5 touches a game and it might help us. George Pickens for Lad McConkey. This one's hella interesting for me. Who do you like better as a receiver? So there are George Pickens fans, there's not George Pickens fans. I don't have a big share of George Pickens. I'm not in on him. Um, I have a fair amount of Lad. I am kind of getting in on Lad. I think George might be more talented than Lad, but I think Lad's a little bit. I don't know. He's got that dog in him a little bit there. What do you talk to me about? What side of this trade and these players you like and what you might have asked for on top of Pickens or Lad?
Okay, so I actually see Pickens much more of I see Lad as a long term thing, as in like a great rebuild piece, especially with that team. Just, I mean, honestly, look, Chargers they do look good. I'll say it. The Chargers look pretty good. They're making it work with their weird pieces. The weird looking team is making it work. So I prefer Lad long term. I think George Pickens is a win now type of piece, but he's not really giving us that boom that he thinks he deserves. I don't know. Actually, I really can't really make a decision on this until I see him with Russell on Sunday Night Football. So I got to see that connection. And if that connection is wide receiver two worthy, then I'm gonna just full on for the now. You got to go with Pickens. But for rebuilding, if you're a rebuilder, keep Lad. That's my idea.
We are both in agreement there. I see a quarterback issue in front of George Pickens for a very long time, so I'm going to place my
Yes.
bet on who's not going to have a quarterback issue. I get it. Lad's going to be on a
Yes.
run heavy team. I understand all that. But the crazy part about this trade is it was done by a team named Herbs and Harbaugh. This is a Chargers diehard fan that gave up Lad for Pickens. So that's the interesting side for this. But what I would have done with this trade is if someone sent me this trade, George for Lad, I'm immediately going to send back, yep, I'm willing to do that, but I'm also going to require your second and I'll give you a third and do a second, third round swap for this and try to push up around in there. Or I'm going to ask for a third or a fourth back in it as well because I don't like 1-for-1 trades. I'm process oriented. I'm not going to plant my flag down on a player and say this player is better than that player because injuries happen, shit happens. Like I have to have a process reason to make that move, especially if they're in somewhat of the same tier. And I think these are in the same kind of tier, right?
I totally think so. Yeah, yeah, especially in like a this season and the 2024 season, they are definitely in the same tier in my opinion.
All right. This was the
Oh my
blockbuster
god.
that was done. And again, we're talking
This
about
is
Nacho Man Sandy Cabbage. I love that name. AJ Brown, Jalen Hurts in a 2026 third. So he gets his stack with Philly. For 204, Kyron Williams, Rashi Rice, Dalton Kincaid, and JJ McCarthy. Obviously, if you look at this trade, it will tell you right off the bat who's trying to win and who's rebuilding. And the rebuilding team took a running back. How do you feel about a rebuilding team taking a running back? Actually, let me make sure that team's rebuilding.
Actually, I'm gonna say this is actually a pretty sick way to. This is a pretty sick way to get out of Jalen
Can I
Hurts.
correct myself? This
Well,
team is not rebuilding. They are in third place in this league. That's taking Williams, Rice, Kincaid, and McCarthy.
yeah, just trying to make sure that team gets him to the finish line. But then he's also doing these cool things where, Kincaid is a great long term piece, I think. Rasheed Rice definitely is a rebuilding piece. You're not going to see him for a minute. And JJ McCarthy, the perfect rebuilding quarterback. It really does scream rebuild, but I think he's trying to get a little balanced here. And I actually really respect that. This is a nice way
So
to get out of Hurts. This is to
so
compete and
QBs
work on the future.
QBs on the team taking McCarthy right now are Aaron Rodgers and Derek Carr. There's no way this team's
Wait.
folding right.
All right. Well, Coltrane, you have to make another move. You need another quarterback then. If you ask me, see if you can sell Rasheed Rice for a bum. Dude, you know what? We're in the same league. You can sell me Rasheed Rice. I'll give you Tua. We'll see. We'll see how that turns out. A risky trade on both ends.
I think this is a process trade that the team taking on Rashi Rice and JJ McCarthy is not done trading. I think those pieces are going to go elsewhere for other pieces. But we talked a lot about getting out of Jalen Hurts. This is a good point to talk about that. We've been on the get out of Jalen Hurts for quite some time. It was building up all off season from me, not you.
Yeah.
After week one, it started with you, but the last 4 weeks we've been very vocal about it. This is how you get out of Jalen Hurts. I don't have Jalen Hurts as an elite asset in dynasty fantasy football any longer. I get what he's going to do, but I really like this QB class that just came in. There's still some dogs that will never let it go. I mean, we could just start going down Josh Allen, Lamar, Caleb, CJ Stroud, um, Joe Burrow, Jordan Love, um, Jaden Daniels. I mean, just keep going down the list. And where do you fold Jalen Hurts into that? And his name is still held very high. This is how you get out of Jalen Hurts. And I
Fully
think
agree.
that was a trade that this guy wanted. He wanted out of Jalen Hurts.
Yes, Coltrane, again, seriously, like, if you're listening, please turn Rasheed Rice into a quarterback. Like, I think that is the best move you could do.
So what would it, so if we go to a rebuilding team, I'm gonna let's give a theoretic trade here. So let's say let's pull up a team 1-5 right now. 1-5 QB is Herbert. Oh,
Herbert,
he's fully
perfect.
rebuilding. Got rid of all of his quarterbacks. And go to you, Smitty. You want to go to you? Um,
Yeah, I'm telling you, like, I think if he wants to play, because it's a risky game back and forth, if you want to send me Rasheed Rice and I send you Tua, that can happen. I'm okay with that. It's just a little scary for me, but I get how terrifying it is for you.
okay, so you got Matthew Stafford on your team. You're sitting 2-4 in this league.
Oh,
Um,
okay. Well,
Rashi Rice for Matthew Stafford and whom else on your team?
um,
Keon Coleman?
that's gonna hurt my heart, but I think that's a good move.
Nobody wants Tua right now, dude. If
That's
you were
true.
scared of Jalen Hurts, you're not taking Tua.
That's true. I think that's a I think that is a good move. Honestly, that is a good move. But that's a good. Send it my way. Send it my way. I'll think about it. I'll pray about it, and then I'll accept it.
Okay.
Oh
All
man,
right,
here we
let's talk
go.
about this one, Smitty. You did it. You did this one. And I got a little irritated because this is the league I'm going for, and I could have used Kyron. And I was just a little
Oh,
late. I was
what?
so busy that day. You put it in the chat, will auto accept any first for Kyron Williams. I never thought I would see that in there. So you took my first round 2025 pick for
He actually
204.
he sent me yours. Like he just said, here's his. His is probably gonna be the highest, which I thought was a lot of respect to your team because you have a killer team. So and it was literally the first offer I received. I'm like, I'll take it. Interesting that you sent me his instead of. I mean, he has so many contenders first to where that was an interesting one that he gave me. So he believes in you, though.
Yeah. And you know, I talk about anytime you get a first round draft pick for RBs minus maybe a couple, you usually take it. Um I just didn't think I would see you do that for Kyron Williams. Are you in a rebuild on this squad then?
I am. It's one of those squads where like I'm weekly starting Cortland Sutton. If you're in a position where you're weekly starting Cortland Sutton, dog, you're not for real. And when I finally swallowed that pill, first thing you gotta do is get rid of them running backs, especially dogs like him. So honestly, there's a world where he got the better of me because I also believe that that pick is gonna be very high, and my glorified second. So, he probably got the better of me, but it's he's not doing me any favors on my squad.
Yeah, you know, if my team stays healthy, I'm 5-1 in this league right now.
See,
I'm
that's
I'm
so
pretty
crazy. Oh
stacked.
my god.
I do need AR5 to be a good quarterback in this league. I definitely have him there. On paper, look at it. You did a process trade. You did what you had to do. You know, I've talked about getting out of Kyron Williams quite a bit. Then I was said, it was bad advice on my part. But dude, if you're not going all in this year, there's no reason to have him on your team. This team could look the Rams could look much different next year, dude. Much, much different. All right. This one's
Ooh,
cool.
good one.
Jeezy and Bismarck's here. Love these two. These two do a lot of trades with me and each other. They understand value, but these two do a lot of trades together. All right. We got Patrick Mahomes in a 2025 third for Jordan Love and Tony Pollard. Now, as we look at this, I will tell you uh, the team getting rid of Patrick Mahomes is stacked, but it's had some bad luck this year. So they're sitting middle of the pack right now. When we look at the team acquiring Patrick Mahomes is sitting in the sixth place. So this is the sixth and seventh place team doing
Ooh,
trades right now. Um, I gotta tell you here, um, I much prefer Jordan Love over
man.
Patrick Mahomes. And it's not even a question for me. And I understand names. If you just take the names out of the equation, Jordan Love's a dog. There's a really good chance that we're talking about an MVP quarterback that is now a top three dynasty asset next year. And I'm perfectly fine giving the third up on top of that to take on a running back that looks like he's going to be a workhorse. Whether or not he's going to give me 20 or 30 points, he's going to be a workhorse in touches, which means I want him on my team as I'm going in a sixth place team. I Bismarck, I love you. You got to process. Don't get me wrong. You know how I roll, but I really like the Jordan Love side quite a bit. Oh, Bismarck got the Jordan Love side. Jeezy, I love you really a lot, but I really like the Jordan Love side more.
I'm gonna say this. Patrick Mahomes he is a name. Yes, he is a name. And I was saying earlier that I think I would rather have A Rich than Patrick Mahomes, but I do feel this way. If you have Patrick Mahomes, you never have to worry about a QB. And honestly, yeah, you can say the exact same about Love. Honestly, what I do prefer the Love side. Now that I'm really sitting here thinking about it, shout out to that third though. You got a third.
Yeah, and think about the future with Love. He has receivers locked, dude. Absolutely locked for a very long time. And let me just pull up keep trade cut here just for shits and giggles. Everybody knows I hate
Oh, our
this
favorite
site.
website in the world. Keep trade.
But all right. So I want to say who would you rather have over Jordan Love? Caleb Williams? I would not.
I wouldn't even.
CJ Stroud?
No.
I would rather Jordan Love. Um, every single player behind that I would rather have. The only quarterbacks I think I would rather have over Jordan Love is Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, and I think we can debate Jaden Daniels right now.
Oh, what? Oh,
We
I
can
mean,
debate
okay.
it
All
because
right.
Jaden Daniels is still a rookie. We
Sure.
have watched Jordan Love do this for an entire season now. He had a slow start last year, but we have watched him do this, and it is not going to stop.
Oh my God, you're really sitting here telling me that Jordan Love is a top? 3 dynasty quarterback. And you know what? I feel it. I feel it, but Jaden Daniels is absolutely him. He's
Why isn't
absolutely
Jordan Love him to you?
you
What
kind
has
of
he
got
done that
to
says he's not him? And let me read these stats to
the
you.
rushing, I guess.
Homeboy has missed 2 games this year. Okay. We have only played 6. So through 4
That's
friggin'
true.
football games, he has thrown for almost 1,200 yards and 12 touchdowns in 4 games. It's not stopping.
Oh, it's not close. Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah.
This offense is electric at all levels, short, intermediate, and deep. It's
Dude,
electric, dude.
are the Packers one of the best teams in the league at this point? Like, I
Yes.
think you kind of sold me on that. Like, they actually might be number one.
The problem is they play in the best conference in football because you start breaking it down. You're like, okay, Minnesota's there, Detroit's there. And you look at that, they have a gauntlet to get through. They got to play, 3 of the best teams twice. That's 6 games. But I do believe, forget the record at the end of the year. I believe this is a top 2 offense in the NFL right now. And look at that's fantasy. Real
Mhm.
NFL, Ravens. The
Yeah,
Ravens, dude. The
yeah.
Ravens. So we talk about tear downs all the time. I think we just teared up from Patrick Mahomes. That was viewed as a tear down in this trade, is how I look at it.
I'm gonna
All
have to
right.
keep one of my Patrick.
Nacho's back at it. Kareem Hunt, Rashi Rice, and a 2025 third for Cooper Cup, Deontay Johnson, Pop Douglas, and a 2025 second.
Dude, he did this before the Pop Douglas game, so shout out to that foresight. Um, well, maybe we should use the context of before Pop Douglas had a maniac on the field. I actually still prefer what Nature Birds has done. I love what I'm seeing out of Deontay Johnson. Obviously, when Cooper Cup is healthy, he is him, and Douglas. That's a nice throw-in. I mean, even with Jacoby Brissett, it was a decent throw-in. But then he also gets the second, and that's what puts it all over the top for me.
Yep.
So I prefer Jason J's side. Freezy, you did get yourself a nice Kareem Hunt. You got Rice, which is God, he's such a weird asset, Rice. I don't know what to even think of him. But he got there. Yeah, I'm sorry. I prefer the Cup side. No
Go
bias.
back and listen to the first trade we broke down and what he used Rashi Rice to go get.
Oh,
I
true.
love this trade. The person getting Cooper Cup, Deontay Johnson, Pop Douglas, and a 2020 25 seconds, sitting 4th in the league right now. Cooper Cup's coming back. There's a lot of debate on what he's going to look like when he comes back, but hopefully he looks like he can stay healthy. We know DJ, trade target. If this dude ends up in Kansas City, holy smokes. I love the second. This is what I want. That third second swap, because now I can use that second for something I can buy when I need more than I can buy that third for right there. But
Dude,
that third's
that
going to be
second
a
was
high,
probably to
high
help out
third.
Douglas.
That third's going to be a 302, 303 at worst.
Oh, for
Um,
sure.
yeah, I think people should start buying Deontay Johnson. Full PPR site. I mean, you just got to go with it. It's like, all right, he's going to get peppered with targets. The only way this is going to bust if he gets hurt or if Bryce comes back in as a quarterback. But I do believe DJ will get traded. There's no reason that they need to hold on to him. Although DJ's been talking a lot about he really is happy where he's at. I don't think he cares about Super Bowls. I don't think he cares about all that. I think he really likes where he's at right now. But this is a way to go get Cooper Cup. That's for damn sure. As you're going in. All right, let's
Oh,
look at. So
okay.
this is
Ooh.
the trade that led up to the trade we just talked about. We should have broken these down in the other order, but Nacho got Cooper Cup, Tanks Busy, and a Bigsby in a first. Or sorry, Cooper Cup, Tanks Bigsby, and gave up your first, which you just said you are moving towards a rebuild. But I like this trade. I
I'm
like
gonna
this
be
trade a lot.
honest.
This is
I full blown see this as an overpay for my first back. It certainly feels like it, but it was. So I made a crazy mistake into just selling all my first for mids. I mean, for like mid players. And when you want, so I'm going on a vicious get my first back tour, and it hurts. And this is the one. This is the most painful way I've done it so far. I think giving up Cooper Cup, which obviously at that moment he was not doing anything. He's hurt, and Bixby had a fantastic game that week. So It felt like an overpay, and at the end of the day, I'm just happy to have my first back. I'm happy to then say, okay, should we sell off the Chirons and everything else I'd done? And I felt comfortable with it, but I had to jump out there and make that move.
So with the trade we broke down before this, now I will ask: would you get rid of your? Would you get rid of your 2025 first for Rashi Rice and a third and
No.
Bigsby? So you get Rashi Rice, Bigsby, and a third, and you give up a first because that's basically how this trade worked out with the one he did right after it.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't with that context.
Okay. Yeah, I like holding on to those first because Smitty, yours looks like it's going to be a pretty decent pick, but it's also a pretty bad class. You know, there's going to be a lot of running backs coming out. This is going to be a running back year that comes out, and hopefully we get a QB, but it's looking like a running back class. All right. I hope you all are seeing how active this league is because we are
Yeah,
only back to
real.
October 8th here on all these trades. All right, Kirk Cousins for a second. That second is the 201. So we'll consider that, basically the 113 of next rookie draft. Um, I thought that this was I thought this was a really good trade. Look at Tony that did this trade, reached out to me and he's like, "What do you think of this trade?" I was like, "Dude, you are guaranteed the 101 at all cost. Get your second round pick back." He doesn't need Kirk Cousins. I'd much rather the 201 than Kirk Cousins. I have in a team that literally, I mean, there's no doubt he's going to go undefeated, or sorry, completely defeated. And I mean, this is the perfect way to get your own pick back, I think.
See, I prefer that. Like as far as getting your picks back, this is how I prefer you do it. This is, man. Shout out to out for the count there.
And then I saw the Kirk Cousins trade go back. Let me go back to that Kirk Cousins trade because I want to round this one out. Where was it? Where was it? Where was it? Um, oh no, that was the Aaron Rodgers trade. Sorry. All right, let's get to the next one here.
So many of
Yeah,
those.
look
Ooh,
at
big boy tree, holy.
here's a nice little tip I want to make before we get to the next trade is if you're a rebuilding team and you do not have your own first and second round pick. Actually, let me reverse that. If I'm looking for a player and I know I'm on a rebuild team that's going to have the 101 and I've got their picks, I know their picks are much more valuable on a trade block to me. Like I know I'm going to get more assets from them to get their first back than any other team is going to get for those assets. So if you have a team that's going to be a 102, 101, 102, 103, or even 104 pick and they're rebuilding, you know you can get more assets for that pick than any other team, and you need to attack it. All right, so we got a big boy here. So we've got, let's go, Deontay Johnson, Michael Pittman, Dalton Kincaid, and a 2025 first, which we've already said that's mine, and it's going to be somewhat, hopefully late.
It'll
Looks
be
like it's going to be at least a playoff team, hopefully a buy as well team for Trey McBride, two firsts and a second. This one is a really hot fire. One, I like what the team that took the DJ Pittman Kincaid because he's already traded all these players that he already got. But I like the other side for Chad Lover, who is rebuilding as well. He gave up a later pick for an earlier pick and got all the liquidity with a tight end that looks to be pretty decent moving forward. How do you view this one?
dude. I'm really just trying to. Okay, I actually have no idea what side I prefer. And you know what? I guess it kind of doesn't matter because Freezy did flip almost all these pieces. Actually, he flipped all these fucking pieces. Wow, this is sick.
Everything, dude. That's why we're going through this. I'm going to show you his team when we're done.
Damn, I ended up with that first. Isn't that so crazy? Like, okay, I love this for Chad because he got himself what he wanted. He got himself a he probably thinks that McBride will probably be better off than Kincaid. And at this moment, I agree.
Mhm.
But even if that's not what he thought, he still got two firsts. And he's been looking for a 2026 first, so he got himself a future first. I mean, he got himself a 2026 first, 2025 first, and a 2025 second. Yeah, I love that. I love it on both ends, but I think having McBride in the picks is probably where I lean.
I do, but looking back at this, like it's one of those things like know your trading partner because as we've gone through this was done on October 8th. It was a 1-14. And the 2026 first actually looks a lot more valuable than it does on paper today. So you were looking at getting rid of the 10th, 11th, 12th pick for the 102, 103, 104 pick. That might turn into a later pick now. But he got Herb's pick, which is a rebuilding pick, and a second. So
Oh, I didn't even consider that. Ooh.
yeah, I do. I like the liquidity. I'm fine getting rid of Dalton Kincaid in a point 0.5. He doesn't mean that much to me. I think I can just go. I mean, hell, you can stream at this point with the way the NFL's played. We've been down on Pittman. I like the liquidity side because now what can you do with those pieces? And if anybody knows Chad Lover down here that took those liquidity pieces, he is an addicted trader and he will be using those pieces to formulate the team that he wants, probably not even making the picks. But I do like he got a 2026 first out of it because he has told me many times he's trying to get some of his picks moved into 2026 versus 2025 because of the draft class that's coming out. I like this. I like this a lot. This, oh man, let's look at this one. Swift, McCarthy, and a second for Herbert. God, man, he used JJ
I'm gonna
McCarthy and
say
Swift for
this.
all those other
This
ones.
honestly
Jesus.
looks like an overpay, but I was recently watching oh god, this is a new podcast to me. It's God, Dynasty Theory, I believe. These guys have completely sold me on Justin Herbert's future. And I totally bought in because they were saying things like, what were they saying? They were saying things about how that offensive line is actually slowly becoming one of the best in the league. We're already seeing it with how those running backs are running through it. And I forgot what else they said, but I thought that offensive line speak really sold me on Herbert. Plus, he's obviously an absolute dog, one of the best quarterbacks, and they're just slowly building up to something, kind of like the way the Lions did, where they got their dog quarterback, so now they're just trying to build up around it, and I thought that was perfect. So I'm really interested in Herbert all of a sudden, and though I'm gonna say this does seem like an overpay for Herbert. Um, He's still a quietly great buy.
Smitty, I love it when you say another podcast and you're like, man, now I should go in on Herbert. When for the last 5 or 6 weeks, I've been talking about you will never buy Justin Herbert for as low as his value is today. It will only get higher. I've been an advocate of trying to go get Justin Herbert, but this is not, I don't think this is an overpay at all. Look at, there's a really good chance that JJ McCarthy, I
Hold
can't
on.
believe I'm going to say this.
No, no, no. No, no,
There's
no.
a real argument that he might have a Sam Darnold problem. If
Oh
Sam
my
Darnold
God.
continues to do what he's doing, you cannot put JJ McCarthy on the field next year. You cannot do that, dude.
I can't wait to see
Sam
how this.
Darnold is leading a team that's one of the best teams in the NFL, and he
Mm-hmm.
is balling, bro. Which, if you
You're
listen to the
undefeated.
podcast that we do all off season, I made it very clear that Sam Darnold is probably going to be the starting quarterback, and he can run that system.
I mean, just think about what Vikings can get for him. I mean, God, I understand. Like, why would you want to trade away a quarterback at this point? But
Yeah.
that's doing so. I get that. I get that.
This
But
is a guaranteed 5 year starter. Probably won't even be on his team in 5 years. Guaranteed starter. Value will only go up with Herbert. I don't care about the Swift side. And to be quite honest with you, I always talk about getting liquidity. Like I love the leverage trade, but I'm not inclined to think that the second round picks are going to be. I don't want to actually pick the second round picks next year for the draft class coming out.
oh
All
my
right, we
God,
got a few
this
more
is
we're going to do here. J.K. Dobbins, Kyle Pitts, uh, Yosivas for Kendre Miller, and Dalton Kincaid. What
oh,
side do you like
Chad
here?
Lovett thinks Dalton Kincaid is an absolute dog, and I do too, but I do not. Okay, actually, I see what the deal is here. Chad Love is rebuilding, so he does not need the Dobbins of the world.
Mm-mm.
Okay, I mean, it looks like an overpay on paper, but knowing what he's trying to do, this is a stellar move, actually.
Yeah, I like the idea of investing into a receiver for a team that is going to be without T. Higgins at some point, probably in the near future, if they don't
Mhm.
win the next couple weeks. Um, Let me ask you this. Who's a better tight end in fantasy football moving forward, Kyle Pitts or Dalton Kincaid? Because there was
Oh,
a clear Dalton Kincaid at the beginning of the year. I'm not sure that's so clear any longer.
if I'm being honest, I think after the Amari trade, things have gotten muddier. I mean, you know what? I'm not even gonna say muddier, but Dalton Kincaid, his situation has kind of gotten worse. Kyle Pitts, in my opinion, is the wide receiver too. Ah, they have a Mooney situation over there. Crap. This is tough. I mean, it's honestly, I don't have like a strong favorite. I'm gonna say Kincaid because I think he's a better athlete. Uh, no, I don't actually. Oh, dude. I'm gonna say Kincaid. Actually, I'm gonna just go ahead and say Kincaid, but it is not a strong answer. I don't feel strongly about it.
This is why I like the 3-2 side. Is it's very debatable on the tight ends right now, so I'd rather leverage on a 3 side and see what I can do with that later. Um, oh God, Kyle Pitts, Dalton Kincaid. I mean, it looks like he's going to break out, and then with Kyle Pitts, it like looks like he's going to backtrack after a breakout. Like it's
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. All right, we got a couple more here. So we've got. This looks like crap after this is done pre the last couple weeks, but Calvin Ridley, Jordan Mason in a third for DK Metcalf. Sign me up on the DK Metcalf side. Calvin Ridley looks like shit. Jordan Mason is whatever. I mean,
We'll use
whatever.
some context. B Marks at this point in time is a CMC manager.
Is he? Okay,
Yeah.
so he got his handcuff.
Yeah. So that's
Yeah, I
why I'm
still
not
want the
even
DK
mad.
Metcalf side. I want the
I'm
Metcalf
actually.
side.
I mean, I do prefer the Metcalf, but I also I'm not mad at it. But oof, Ridley, help him.
I want the Metcalf side on here. I personally look, they gave up a third. I would ask for a fourth back for a third, fourth slot because this is a 4 round rookie draft in this league. Um, I would have tried to get something else, but I like the Metcalf side because what I think he gives you is spike weeks at the very least. I think he's a top 12 wide receiver in fantasy, but there's going to be some duds. But the spike weeks he has, oh man, they're fun to watch. I like the Metcalf side quite a bit on this one. Um, all right, this was. I don't think this was pre-injury. Oh, good lord. Um, I don't think we need to break this one down too much. Derek Carr, Ricky Purcell for Tua Tagovailoa, and Tutu Atwell.
This is when I thought I was still competing, and Tutu Atwell was
Oh,
pretty.
you did this.
Yeah,
Sweet.
and Tutu Atwell, in my opinion, was clearly the best receiver in the Rams on the Rams offense, and Tua, I thought that was a fair trade for. I mean, just like I can't stand Carr, and he was blowing up at that moment, and then Pearsall. I'm starting to actually worry about Pearsall. Like that offense is too crowded for him. Like it was kind of a weird move to draft him in the first round, but that's just my concern. It's just like it's too crowded. But I don't know. Looking back, this trade's just. I might just prefer the Pearsall of it all, if I'm being honest.
Dude, this is all health, man. I mean, it's just like if Tua plays the next 2 years, Tua side crushes. I don't care about Tutu Atwell. I do care about Ricky Purcell, don't get me wrong, but to what extent do I care about Ricky Purcell? He's not really a liquid asset. I mean, I'd much rather just a second round pick at this point than Ricky, just because, well, now that second round pick doesn't have a name. So I can use that elsewhere. People, if I send them Ricky, are going to be like, I don't know. Is he better than Jawan Jennings? I don't know. How long is Debo going to be there? I don't know. George Kittle's balling out as a tight end. So this is an interesting trade. I just don't think I don't really care about either side, to be honest with you. Is it weird not to have you break down a trade? All right,
I
Aaron
mean, no,
Rodgers for a
because I totally
second.
get it. Like looking back, I totally get it.
We already
Oh,
broke down the Aaron Rodgers side.
dude, yes,
So,
I would totally all day sell Aaron Rodgers or buy Aaron Rodgers for a second. I mean, just
yeah, but
where
he went from a later 2025 second and then sold him again in a trade we broke down earlier for an earlier 2025
for the
second.
201. Can you believe that?
Yep. I love
Sick.
it. No, that was Kirk for the 201.
Oh,
Aaron
that's
Rodgers in
right.
a different
That's right.
trade. All right, out for the count. This is our rebuilding, guaranteed 101 here. He gets a 2025 first, gives up Braylon Allen, Daryl Mooney, and a 2025 second. So, point of this trade, this was done in September 24th. This is the last trade we're going to break down because we're getting a little outdated here. But let me see where this team is real quick for what that first rounder is going to be. Give me 2 seconds. This
Well, I think
was
Mooney definitely had himself a great
Snickers.
game, and so did Braylon Allen there. Um,
So that's slated right now at the 107. Sorry, 108. 107. Yeah, 107. So the 107 for Braylon Allen a second and Daryl Mooney. I like it for a rebuilding team, but hindsight's 2020. You can get much more value for Mooney at this point, but this was a sell high off of a really big Mooney game.
yeah, I'm just really thinking. I actually would prefer the first year. I mean, I understand that's
Mhm.
3. Whoa, there's a second. Oh shit. Okay, I didn't see the second. Okay, I do prefer the package actually.
I get it. I get the trade all the way around. It was about moving up into the first round. I get it, and it was about getting points off of his bench, so I don't have to be bitching at him to start Daryl Mooney when he's on his bench. I'm like, dude, you've got um, Elijah Higgins in your offense, your flex. Like, all right, so I want to show our peeps now. We're about an hour in. This is gonna be fun here. Let me show you. 80% of the trades we just went over was from one team to another. Let's get into his team. Let's go. Actually, let's do
Where is
it
it?
this way.
Freezy, where is he at?
All right, so Freezy's right next to me. Forget everybody else on here. Actually, I'm going to start with week 3. Hold on. I want to show you what this guy's team looked like week 3. It was, where are you
A
at? Where are
Nacho
you at?
Man up there. Dang, yeah, 181 points.
He
Sheesh.
did. But this was his team week 3. And again, he's 1-4. He was rolling Justin Herbert, Austin Eckler, Javonte Williams, Christian Kirk, Juwan Jennings, Tyler Lockett, Trey McBride, Chuba Hubbard, Cole Kmet, Dalton Kincaid. He also had Russell Wilson, Kenny Pickett, Trey Sermon, Khalil Herbert, Pierre Strong, Kendra Miller, Kendrick Bourne, whatever, bunch of crap.
Yeah,
Now,
low-key ugly team.
ugly team. You can see why that's the 104. Now, the point we want to make for everyone here today is why you grind trades, why you don't give up in a league that is incredibly active that you can rebuild your team. That shitty team that we just read off through 15 trades in a 2-week time period has turned into Jalen Hurts, Kirk Cousins, Russell Wilson, backup quarterbacks, Bijan Robinson, or Hunt, Najee Harris, Tank Bigsby, Jaleel McLaughlin, Austin Eckler, Nick Chubb, Isaiah Pacheco. Then listen to his wide receivers now: Diggs, Brown, Ayuk, Ashivas, whatever you pronounce that name, Roman Wilson, Lockett, Reynolds, Kirk. And in his tight end room, he's sitting Pitts, Komet, Ferguson, and he doesn't have the first next year, but still has liquidity. 15 trades of grinding has taken a really crappy team into a team that, if they string enough wins together, can make some really big noise in the playoffs if they end up making it that far. So,
Well done.
Freezy, the point of our entire podcast today is to say we tip our hat to you and we thank you for being as addicted and as process oriented to this sport as it gets. Cheers, brother. We appreciate you. All right, we're done with the trades, man. You got anything else you want to talk about before we get out of here today?
No, I'm just hoping for the best. I mean, okay, I'm hoping for I'm hoping for an amazing Drake May game in London, and if so, we gotta
Drake
buy.
Maniac, Maniac.
Yes, the Drake Maniac. I'm excited.
Yeah. For all still listening, I do want to say one more thing. We didn't really go into some of these trades that went across the board in real football, but please don't worry about G Willie. Go buy him. People are scared. G Willie now can open up the long passing game with Devontae working everything else. Don't worry about him. Is he getting 22 targets? No. Is his fantasy production maybe go down slightly? Yes. He's still probably going to be a top 12 wide receiver because that offense is going to get cooking, everybody. Thanks for listening. Cheers. Good luck, everybody, this week.
See you.